Hello everyone, welcome to today's class. In this lecture, we're going to be looking at the English clause. There are three things we're going to be considering, and they include the definition of a clause, types of clauses that exist in English, and the functions of clauses that we have in English. Let's begin by looking at the definition of a clause. A clause is a group of words that includes a subject and a verb, that is, it has a subject and a predicate. It is a major unit of grammar and it is defined by the elements it could contain. Some of these elements include the subject, the predicator, the complement, and the adjunct. A clause has a finite verb and can convey meaning. In a nutshell, a clause is a grammatical unit or group of words that has a finite verb and can convey meaning. When you talk about a finite verb, it's a verb that can change its form when its subject changes. Let's look at the types of clauses. There are two major types of clauses in the English language. We have the main or independent clause, and we have the subordinate or dependent clause. The main clause is capable of standing on its own and conveying meaning, while the subordinate clause cannot stand alone in a sentence but derives its meaning from the main clause because it depends on it to convey meaning. Let's look at the subordinate clauses that we have. There are three types of subordinate clauses in English, and they include the noun clause, the adjectival or relative clause, the adverbial clause. Let's begin with the noun clause. A noun clause simply performs the function of a noun in a sentence. Let's see some of the functions of a noun clause. A noun clause functions as a subject of the verb. In a sentence initial position, it functions as the subject of the verb that follows it. Another function of the noun clause is that it functions as the object of a verb. When it directly or indirectly receives an action set in motion by the subject. A noun clause also performs the function of a subject complement when it comes after a linking verb referring to the same entity as the subject. A linking verb here is a verb that can emanate from the be form of the verb. You can see the video on types of verbs for more information. A noun clause also functions as an object complement when it follows the direct object and renames it or refers to the same entity as that object. You can see the video on the difference between the direct object and the indirect object for more information. Let's see the examples of the noun clause in the various functions it performs. For instance, as the subject of a sentence, whatever you become in future does not concern anybody. The subject of the sentence is the noun clause, whatever you become in the future. Where we go is none of his business. Where we go, highlighted in red, is also a noun clause that serves as the subject of the sentence. Let's see examples of the noun clause as an object of the sentence. I will do whatever you say. Whatever you say is the object of the verb will do, and it serves as the object of the verb will do, and it's a clause. Nobody knows where he has gone. Where he has gone is the noun clause serving as the object of the verb knows, and it answers the question, where has he gone? Let's look at noun clause performing the function of the subject complement. Your daughter is who you raised her to be. Who you raised her to be is a subject complement. It is complementing the subject, your daughter. A complement is different from the object. If you have a linking verb, what you have on the right side is a complement. But if it is a regular verb, what you have is an object. The boy became a champion nobody could ever forget. The champion nobody could ever forget was what the boy became, and it is a noun clause that performs the function of a subject complement. Let's look at noun clauses performing the function of object complement. Our Savior gave the instruction that we should rely on Him. That we should rely on Him is the noun clause that serves as the complement of the object, the instruction. You can call me whatever you like. Whatever you like is the complement of the object me, and it is a noun clause. It also functions as the object of a preposition. For instance, they argued about who should report the loss. Who should report the loss is an object of the preposition about. So, in this example, the clause who should report the loss is serving as the object of the preposition about. Let's look at the adjectival or the relative clause. The adjectival or the relative clause qualifies a noun or a pronoun. It is also called relative clause because it is introduced by relative pronouns such as who, whose, that, which, and whom. You can look up the video on pronouns in English to see the various types of pronouns that we have. Let's see some examples of an adjectival or a relative clause. The students who studied hard succeeded. The underlying clause is the adjectival clause, who studied hard. My sister who gave me this pen traveled to London. Who gave me this pen is the relative clause. The students whose guardians attended the meeting will be admitted. If you notice this sentence, there is a parenthesis that is marked off by the orthographic comma. And this means that relative clause is providing more information about the noun that is before it, that is the students. The place where the man was buried is not known. The same thing applies here. The place where the man was buried is not known. One thing that is clear about relative clauses is that they are parenthetical, meaning they can be removed, they can be deleted from the sentence, and the sentence will still make correct sense. Let's see these same examples read without the relative clauses. The students succeeded. My sister traveled to London. The students will be admitted. The place is not known. The relative pronoun that introduces the adjectival clause sometimes could be omitted, as we have in these examples. The matter that we discussed last night is still fresh in my memory. We can remove the relative pronoun that introduces that clause, and what we have will be the second sentence. The matter we discussed last night is still fresh in my memory. Let's go on to see adverbial clauses. An adverbial clause modifies a verb in the main clause. Adverbial structures answer certain questions and are therefore named after the questions they answer. An adverbial clause of time answers the question when. An adverbial clause of place answers the question where. Adverbial clauses of manner answer the question how. Adverbial clauses of reason answer the question why. Adverbial clause of condition stipulates condition. Adverbial clause of concession indicates concession. Adverbial clause of result specifies result. Let's see some examples. An adverbial clause of time can be indicated by words such as when, why, since, immediately, before, as soon as, whenever, anytime. All these are subordinate conjunctions that indicate time. Let's see some examples. Tell the boy to report in my office anytime he arrives. Immediately my dad left for work, I went back to bed. The clauses in red are adverbial clauses of time. Let's see that of place. You have words like where, wherever, everywhere, and so on and so forth. Let's see examples. I put the key where he could easily find it. Everywhere they go, trouble follows in their wake. For manner, we have words such as if, as though, as in a way that, like, such as, and so on and so forth. All these indicate manner. Let's see examples. He is eating in a way that shows he is greedy. He was talking as if he was drunk. Let's see adverbial clause of condition indicated by subordinate conjunctions such as if, unless, until, provided, and so on and so forth. The following examples shows this. Unless you try hard, you cannot improve. If you come tomorrow, I will assist you. These are examples of adverbial clauses showing condition. Let's see that of concession that can be introduced by words such as though, although, even though, yet, hence, however, therefore, nonetheless, nevertheless, and others. Let's see examples. Nigeria is rich. However, many Nigerians are poor. I know I cannot win. Nevertheless, I will compete. Those clauses in red are adverbial clauses of concession. Let's see for result. The major word that shows this is that. It rained heavily that I could not travel yesterday. This was as a result of the rain. He was beaten so badly that he could not see well. All these clauses in red are examples of adverbial clauses of result. Let's see for reason. We have words such as because, in order, so that, so as to, for the fact that, and so on and so forth. Let's see some examples. Our parents don't love us because we are disobedient. We labor hard so as to pass our examinations. So these are clauses that are showing reason, and they are referred to as adverbial clause or clauses of reason. Thank you for listening to this lecture. Kindly subscribe to this channel for more informative and educative lecture on the English language.